During this NBA season, one of the biggest things that a lot of people have been talking about is all the Rona outbreaks, because as you guys know, Rona is going on still in the world, and in the NBA it's been very harsh. Even in like leagues like the NFL and I think the NHL, there's stuff going on over there, and truthfully the whole message used to be get vaccinated and you should be good, yet even vaccinated people are still catching Rona, or at least this variant of it. Because of this, many leagues are having outbreaks right now, and a lot of players are starting to catch it. That goes from star players to bench players to even coaches. And because of the Rona outbreaks, we've had some games that it looks like the two G League teams are playing, and we've seen a lot of interesting things to say the least. But currently in the NBA, there's a trend going on right now that I don't think a lot of people really expected to happen. Now, I made a video a while back telling you guys that, hey, I think the NBA should shut down the league. You know, there's a lot of Rona outbreaks going on, at least quarantine for a couple weeks, get your stuff solved and we'll be good. And the reactions we got, I believe we got around 1,000 votes of people that were saying, yes, I agree the NBA should be shut down, and the other half were like, no, this is being blown way out of proportion. Truth be told, I was on the side that's saying, you know, I think the NBA should at least shut down for just the 2 weeks. And because the league has been very firm on not shutting down the league, these teams have came to options that honestly I didn't think this would happen. I think most of you guys know about Spider-Man No Way Home. It's the brand new Spider-Man movie that just came out, and I don't want to spoil it, and I don't know if this is going to be considered a spoiler, so skip like 10 seconds. I just want to mention one thing that happened in the movie. 3, 2, 1. So basically in Spider-Man No Way Home, there's something called the Multiverse, which basically means that it's pretty self-explanatory. And in the NBA currently right now, it seems like the Multiverse is living out. Now, because some teams are having like 9 to 10 man outbreaks where obviously, you know, you need about 7 to 8 guys to play a basketball game, they've had to call on some G League players or even emergency replacement players. However, some teams like the Chicago Bulls have had around 9 to 10 guys tested positive for Rona, so that's damn near almost your whole entire team. So NBA teams have came up with a new idea that is breaking the internet currently, and I cannot make this up, and if this was 2013 and you heard this, you would probably think I'm lying to you. NBA teams are signing older players on 10-day contracts, and I'm not trying to exaggerate this at all when I say old. In 2001, Joe Johnson was drafted to the Boston Celtics, where his NBA career would be on teams like the Phoenix Suns and more importantly the Brooklyn Nets, where he rose to popularity. In fact, you probably know his nickname, ISO Joe. Guys, we're in 2021, about to be 2022, meaning that he was drafted damn near 20 years ago. And if you've seen any NBA news recently, you would know that Joe Johnson was offered a 10-day contract to the team that drafted him 20 years ago. Now, Joe Johnson has only played in 1 NBA game so far, and I believe he's averaging about 2 points per game, if that. But I want to remind you guys that this is a 10-day contract, and in about 3 days at the time of recording this, so about January 1st, his contract will be up and he will most likely not be getting a second opportunity, which I really don't think would affect Joe Johnson that much, because I don't think he actually expects anything out of this contract. The man is 40 years old, so the possibility of him getting another second-day contract is very unlikely. Sure, it would be cool to see that, but at the end of the day, we're gonna have to get back to reality, because there's no way Joe Johnson gets another contract. Now, he actually is on the record saying that he believes that he's in the best shape he's ever been in his life, but to be fair, I have heard that before in sports and it ends up not being true. But Joe Johnson is 40 years old and he's not actually getting playing time, so what's the big deal? Now, Joe Johnson is probably the more famous name when it comes to out of all of these guys getting these opportunities, but what about a guy you maybe haven't heard of, but a guy that's been getting some pretty solid production that was not actually known that much in the NBA? Guys, I'm talking about Greg Monroe, who despite being 31 years old and playing overseas basketball not that long ago, has actually been doing pretty well on his 10-day contract. In 2 games so far, he's averaged 9, 8, and 5, which I don't think is that bad actually. He's not a starter, so it seems like he's getting some pretty decent bench time, but I think it's safe to say that Greg Monroe could actually stay in the NBA. Yeah, he's probably not going to be a top center, and I mean, he never was, but he definitely has the opportunity to be a pretty good bench player for a championship team. However, the NBA did not give up on Greg Monroe, but people gave up on this player that I'm about to mention next. But before I can get into the guy that people gave up on who was really good at shooting the basketball, I gotta talk about balls for a sec. Hey y'all, this video is sponsored by manscaped.com, the global brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. If you guys want to take care of your body, why wait till the beginning of the year when you can start right now with Manscaped's brand new Performance Package 4.0. Now personally, I like to do my grooming in the shower, so that's why I use the Lawnmower 4.0, which is actually waterproof and is very much skin safe. Not to mention, it is cordless, so it's not going to be a struggle to use. Also, it has this little LED light which does help you while you're in the shower. Not to mention, it also shows how much battery you do have left, off so you can put it on your little charger stand. Now right after you get out of the shower, you're going to want to use their crop preserver anti-chafing ball deodorant. Now my personal favorite product is very simple, is the crop reviver ball toner. It is super fast to use, and not to mention sometimes I'm in a hurry, I just do a quick little spray and I'm good for the day. On top of that, as an additional gift, you do get their weed whacker nose hair trimmer. In addition, you do get their boxer shorts, which are super comfortable, and so you can keep all your stuff in one place. You get their shed travel bag. And don't worry, I got a good deal for you guys. If you guys do use code Spex, you'll get 20% off your order and international free shipping. Guys, that's code Spex, 20% off. The link is in the description below. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. In 2017, Isaiah Thomas was on top of the NBA and was actually a legitimate MVP candidate, averaging 28 points per game for the Boston Celtics. However, after getting backstabbed by the organization, they traded him to Cleveland in return for Kyrie Irving, which in hindsight was probably one of the worst trades the Boston Celtics could have made, but it led to some opportunities like them getting Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, so you tell me. Regardless of all that though, Isaiah Thomas's NBA career was never the same and he fell off. The man was never the same and he struggled to get an NBA contract, and the whole league gave up on him. And about 4 months ago, Isaiah Thomas dropped 81 points in a game in the crossover league, which is basically a pro-am circuit with former NBA players and people that are actually good at basketball, not just your average Joe, which then led to a viral video getting out of Isaiah Thomas crying after the game because everyone gave up on him. However, recently Isaiah Thomas was signed to the Lakers on a 10-day contract and everyone was hyped. To be fair, the man did drop 40 points in his G League debut not many days beforehand, but still, it was a pretty cool story, and it was the first time I watched a Laker game ever since they played the Phoenix Suns. In those 4 games, he'd averaged 9 points per game on 30% shooting. Now he did drop 19 points in his NBA debut and 13 the game after, but after that he would just score 3 and 2 the following 3 games. And just like that, his NBA run was over. Now the only difference is Isaiah Thomas was a former MVP and he really isn't that old compared to some of these players. And I would actually make a bet that Isaiah Thomas was going to get back into the NBA more than I would of Joe Johnson. However, what about a player that had the opportunity to be really good but he just wasn't that great, and now he's getting a second opportunity at the NBA? He was a former lottery pick and I actually talked about him in a video not that long ago. Guys, I'm talking about Brandon Knight. His best season was in 2013 playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, where he would average about 18 points per game and he was actually seen as a legit player. However, his NBA career never really took off and now he's more known as one of the players that were selected before Klay Thompson. But the thing is that most people aren't shocked that he's just in the NBA again because he's been seen as a journeyman and someone that's been traveling team to team. No, the reason people are shocked is because Brandon Knight in these last 2 games has averaged 19 points per game on 45% shooting from the field. Some people may be like, okay, that's literally like almost 20 points in 2 games, that's not that big of a deal. But nor is Joe Johnson averaging 2 points per game and he's only played like a single NBA game. So whether you're a former all-star or a former MVP candidate or a former bench player or even just someone that has been a journeyman that now has the opportunity to maybe take his NBA career back, it's weird to see where the NBA is right now versus where it was about a year ago. According to statistics, it seems like we've already passed the most current NBA players that were active during a season and we're only 30 games in. And if we keep on the pace that we're going at, there's a good chance that we could land in the thousands, which would be 2 times the amount that the original record was. I swear the NBA is a crazy place, but to be honest, what haven't we seen yet in this league? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, leave a like, comment, subscribe, notifications on. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have an amazing day. Take care. Cue that outro. Everybody fuck with me cause I got a check. I ain't going hard enough, my mama told me go harder. I'ma pull up with a 45 and I'm chopper.